So we need to know some things. So we are going to talk about this Pythagorean theorem. So it's on our sheet. I'm not super good at spelling, so I'm just going to look. So the Pythagorean theorem has to do with a triangle that has a 90. Do you guys know what that is? What is? Good. Yeah, I said that. Yep. So it looks like this. Does that look familiar? So if we're talking about Pythagorean theorem, for this to work, we have to have a 90-degree angle. Okay. So then we have three sides. So we're going to call one side A, one side B, and C has to be the angle or the side that's across from the 90. So C is always the longest side. And we also call C the hypotenuse. Have you heard that name before? The hypotenuse? That's new? Okay, that's fine. So that's just a new vocabulary word. So we call the longest side, the one across from the 90-degree angle, we call that the hypotenuse. Can you guys see back up there okay? Okay, great. All right, so when we have a 90-degree angle, we have something that's true. This is always true if we have a 90-degree angle. We have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So this is our two short sides, each of them squared, added together, gives us our long side squared, or our hypotenuse squared. Okay, this is always true if we have a 90-degree angle in our triangle. And that is called the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so let's look at some examples. So the first four on here, so if I were you, I would probably write that on my paper somewhere. I'd do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Then you don't have to go back and forth to your notes. So we need to check, do the following lengths form a right triangle? So we need to find the long side. So this one's the longest. So we need to kind of plug it into the right spot. So long side is always C. So find the longest side, this one's C. Then it doesn't matter. The short sides can be A and B. We don't really care which one's A, which one's B. So then we plug it in. So A squared, so A is going to be 8. 8 plus 6 is that, we are checking, is that 9 squared? If you want to use a calculator, that's fine with me. I'm going to grab a calculator. So I have one on my desk. If you guys want to borrow a calculator, there's a box over there. You can use them. You can use your phone calculator. You can use your computer calculator. So we're just checking. So 8 squared is 64. You can type this all in probably too, but I'm going to do it in pieces. I know 6 squared is 36, and 9 squared is 81. So I'm checking, is this true? So 64, plus 36. Yeah, that's true. Yep, that's right. So 8 times 8 is 64. 6 times 6 is 36. That's right. So this is 81 is equal to 100. Is that true? So this is not, so there's not a 90-degree angle. Okay, so that's my answer. There is not a 90-degree angle here. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. All right, so what if they give us just these lengths down here? So 6, they just give us some numbers. Good. So we better check, is C the longest side? Yeah, okay. So we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do a squared plus b squared. Is that c squared? We're checking. So we have 2.1 squared plus 7.2 squared is 7.5 squared. We're going to see if that's true. Should I make it bigger? Yeah. Oh, okay. So we are just doing the same thing. So I'm doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You got it? Okay. Yep, thanks. So then we're just plugging it in and we're checking. So 2.1, oh, I have a squared button. 2.1 squared plus we'll just do it all in the calculator. That's fine too. So 2.1 times 2.1 plus 7.2 times 7. Oh, I did the wrong number. I better go back and fix that. So this is 7.2. I plugged the wrong number in. There we go. Okay, so 56, you got that too? Okay, 56.25. Thanks, Skylar. Let me do 7.5 squared. Okay, and you got on both sides it says 56.25. So this is true. If Pythagorean theorem is true, that means somewhere in this triangle there is a 90 across from our longest side. So there is, how should we say this? Do the lengths form a right triangle? So yes, this is a right triangle. Okay, that's the other thing. So a right triangle just means there's a 90-degree angle in the triangle. Okay, questions so far? So I think you guys can do the rest. I guess there's 1, 2, 4 more of those. So let's go ahead and try some of the ones, some of these next section. So let me just check. Okay, there's just one more section. Also, this is all we're doing today. So if you get done, I want to make sure that you work on either another class or work on your ingenuity. Okay. So once you get done with this assignment, we're done for today. We're just going to do like one topic each math class. Okay.
Different topics are going.
Yes. They'll be slightly different. So for a minute, we're going to do triangles. Then we'll do some volume. Then I think there's some. Yep. Yep.
I have someone.
Okay. Good. That'll be helpful. And then if you get done, then you can work on your other. I know you guys have other ingenuity classes, or even other classes for PM school. Okay. So these first couple, if we look here, we're looking for the side across from the 90-degree angle. So notice this little square means it's 90. So all of these triangles, we'll be able to use Pythagorean theorem to solve. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Let's see if I can. Maybe, I can just.
A squared plus B squared.
Oh. Plus each other. So are you looking at 7? 2. Oh, up here. Oh, we're just going to scoot down to number 7. Is that all right? So this is a different type. So now we're looking for the length. We're looking for C. Yep, so we have 16. So 4 squared plus 8 squared should give me the C squared. So we're just going to do some algebra and solve. So yep, 16, and then what's 8 squared? 8 times 8 is 6. I think it's 64. And then we're going to add those. If you can add them in your head, you're just going to be faster than me. 16 plus 64 gives us 80. So on this side, we still have C squared. Now we have 16 plus 64. That gives us 80 over here. And we have C squared over here. So we've got to solve for C squared. So how do we get rid of that squared? Do you guys know?
Oh,
the opposite. So if it's multiply, that's the opposite of divide. But do you know that we need the opposite of squared? Can anyone remember? So we have this symbol. Does this look familiar? We got the square root.
Yeah, isn't it divide division? Isn't it just dividing and see how many you can get in 80 or no?
So this one, it's kind of like that.
I think I got taught to just take it and see how many you can put in.
Oh yeah, so you're thinking like this, like do the tree, 2 and then 40 and then yep, yes. So it's kind of like division, but instead of like division, you're taking 2 of the same thing.
I don't remember how to do it.
Oh, okay.
It's there, you know.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's good. So we can just take this number if we do the square root on, you can do it like that, the tree diagram. We could do that. 20, what's 20? 2, 5. So then we would have 4 on the outside square root of 5. Or we can just put in 80 and we'll get a decimal. That's okay with me. Decimals are okay with me. So C is 8.9. Okay. All right, so when you do this, to check, C should be the longest side. So let's check. Is C the longest side? Yep, good. So 90, if you have a 90-degree angle in a triangle, that's going to be the longest side. And so the angle across from the side will determine, so if the biggest angle is across from this side, it should be the longest side. Does that make sense? Kind of, yeah. That's a little bit confusing there. So this angle, or excuse me, this side should be the biggest one. And it checks out. That's the biggest. C should always be the longest. Yep. Okay, let's try another one of those. Let's see. Are they all? I think they're. Yep. Let's try another one on the front. Should we try? Let's try 10. Are you okay with 10? Sorry, what?
I was going to ask you.
10? Okay. Okay, good. So we're on the same page. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So the side across from the 90 is c. So it doesn't matter what one a and b is. They just have to be one of the short sides. So I'm going to say 3 squared plus 7 squared is c squared. Oops, there we go. 3 times 3 is 9. 7 times 7 is 49. And we've got c squared. Somehow I got in here. So now I'm going to do 9 plus 49. That gives us 58 is c squared. We need c, so we're going to do the square root on both sides to get rid of that squared. That's like the opposite. And then we've got c is second square root of 58, and that is 7.6. So c is 7.6. Did you have a question?
No, I haven't been using the calculator.
Oh.
I'm not sure how you got the 7.6. Like, how would you
Oh.
do that on paper?
Okay, so if you did it on paper, so Sam, you're gonna do something different. So I'll come talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
So this one you take 58 and just make it, like you were saying, make it smaller. So if we do 58 divided by 2, what do we have? So 58, I guess 29. And then does 29 have any factors?
Factors?
Yeah, can we divide anything, 29 by anything? Okay. So I think this one is, I don't think we can square root this one. So that would be it. We could only say square root of 58.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Oh, so that would be the answer. So C would be square root of 58. It's stuck. Because we can't divide it by, we're stuck here.
But if it was just paper and we didn't have calculator, would that?
Yep, this would be the answer. Yep, square root of 58. Because you can't simplify it anymore.
And what's 7.6?
This is it on the calculator. This is a decimal version. Yep.
It is just confusing.
Oh. Yep, good question. So I'm using your assignment, so I'm gonna have to print you out another one. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's look at one on the back. So this one, let's see. Scoot to number 18. 18 is a little bit different. So where is our long side on 18?
Ooh, 13.3.
Good, 13.3. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Which one is c squared? Usually we've been solving for c, but now we have c. 13.3
Go
is
backwards?
C, so we have to go backwards.
Yeah.
Yep, so it doesn't matter what this is. Do you want to call this one A or B? Okay, so let's call this one A, we'll call this one B. The short sides, it doesn't matter. C matters. You have to make sure the long side is C. So we have A squared. We don't know A squared. We have a B squared, 9.7.
I feel like it'd be easier that way, because then you can't just straight go backwards, you know?
Okay, yeah. So, yep. Whatever's comfortable, it doesn't matter too much what that number. It's either A or B. So A is fine. A is good. So 13.3 squared goes over here. So now, what do we have? We have A squared plus, let's simplify a little bit before we subtract. So we've got 9.7 squared. That gives us 94.09. 13.3 squared gives us 176.89. Now we just need to solve for A. So first we need to get A by itself. So let's subtract 94.09 from both sides. So now on this side we just have A squared. This side we have this 176 minus 94.09. We've got 82.8. And we don't have A quite yet. What do we need to do to get A by itself? We've got A squared. You know, Aiden? Sorry? Sorry? Yeah, this one. Square root. Good. Square root. So square root both sides. So that gets rid of that squared. So now we just have A, and we have 82.8. Oops, first, second square root, 82.8. So if it's a decimal, it's pretty hard to do it by hand. So I think you would have to use a calculator here. So that's our A. And then we gotta check, is A shorter than B, or excuse me, it doesn't have to be shorter than B. Is A shorter than C? That's true. So A and B have to be shorter than C. Okay, are there any other ones that you want to do? So look at your assignment. Any ones you want to do together before we let you work by yourselves? You're good? Okay, all right. So go ahead and work on that. I'm going to print you off one, and I'll come talk to you.